right, so next we're going to talk about something I'm very excited about. This is something that I don't want to, it's new, but it's not in a way. It's been a very long-standing problem that we've been trying to figure out solutions towards, and then it's just been very recently that it's kind of we come up with a fantastic solution. But it's not because we just recently got the solution or decided to do something. It's really accumulation of relationships, and the work that we've put in through many years, decades now, has really allowed us to accumulate to what I believe is a fantastic solution for everyone through our strategic partnerships. All right, so let's talk a minute before we get into more strategic partnerships about ERP systems. How many people have heard of an ERP system? Yep, definitely Rick. Rick's implemented a few of them, but it's a big buzzword. And a lot of times you'll see if you get a new mayor, a new city manager, a new IT director, one of the things they may start kind of kicking around is, man, we really need to have an ERP system, and that'll just fix all of our city's problems. And that's kind of stuff has been going on for a while. You might be wondering why. What's so special about an ERP system? Why would they have that in their head that that's something as a city we might want to do? Well, there are a number of advantages to having an ERP system. So one, it can streamline operations. And essentially, in a nutshell, if you just want the layman's term with it, it's a software that can work for many different departments. So traditionally, when you hear ERP, a city's talking about it in terms of financial software primarily. So the human resource software, payroll, all those different things. But then it's also going to do permitting, code enforcement, public works, and just basically be one vendor that provides all of the city's software services with financial at the core. So that's usually what it's intended to mean. And there are some advantages to having something like that. Another is data accuracy. So part of the goal to an ERP system is to get rid of the silos. So you're going to have a focus where you don't have different copies of address data. You're just going to have one database that can be used for reports, for different things. And ideally, in a perfect world, if all of this is deployed correctly, it can improve decision making because you can get more real-time data up to the minute from one source, a better set of reports from a citywide perspective without having fragmentation in your data. So there's definitely good things about an ERP, and it's why that might be advantageous to pursue. Now, one of the questions is My Government Online, or MGO, an ERP system? Technically, yes, we are. We do many different things across different departments. We are designed to be an ERP system, but where we've really fallen in is permitting and licensing, planning and zoning, code enforcement, asset management, and public works. That's really been our different departments that we focused on. We certainly do some other things with grants management, but where we've kind of intentionally stayed away from has been financial software. So while we have a point of sale to an extent, we certainly can take online payments, we're not the general ledger. We can track the GL codes, but we're designed to feed that into the general ledger and not to be the human resource and things like that. So those are the pieces that we're missing, that when a jurisdiction is saying that we want a true, full ERP system, we don't have those parts. And traditionally, we can replace a large segment of things, but then we just integrate with the financial software. So then that leads to the next question that I get asked a lot. I know Bay St. Louis, we had Mike Riso was going to be here, but he's on me all the time. Why don't y'all build financial software? I want to use MGO for everything, which we're happy to do. But I give him a very straightforward answer because I want you to still like us. I know what I'm good at, and I don't know that I can be great at that. And more of my concern is if we get into financial software and some of those things, I'm really concerned that it would stretch us so thin that it would hurt what we're trying to be great at and where we're known for being great at with permit software. We really have developed a reputation as being some of the best in breed software in those areas. And if you look at our organization, how we're staffed, our executive director, he has been doing this for 25 years, but before that, he worked in a permit office. We have other directors that were community development directors. We have a building official on staff. We have lots of other people that come from the planning and permitting world that make up our organization. We are considered a planning commission. What you don't see, while we do have an accounting department, we don't have CPAs on staff. We're just not geared up with that type of expertise and personnel. So, and then it's a ton of work. I work a lot as it is, so I'm not doing all this. So there's a whole nother investment that needs to be made. There's a risk. We don't have people that have a background to really understand. You know, it's really easy for me to have a discussion with my boss, with Mike, because they know the permitting world. I don't have to explain anything. If I want to go and talk about financial software, that might be a lot more of a struggle. So there's just kind of this natural thing of who we are as an organization, that it doesn't make the most sense for us to do that and expect that we're going to be really great at it. So we've intentionally stayed away. Now, other companies, they have the same problem. They may have a company that's staffed not with permitting folks, but it's staffed with financial folks, CPAs, and accountants, and those types of bean counter type people, right? But they have the same issue. When they try to build permit software, it's not so great. In fact, there's some very well-known financial software packages that many of you are signed up with. Y'all mutinied, got rid of the permit package and got with us because they just couldn't do that well. They were fine with the financial software, but it's those other things that their organization doesn't really dictate. Doesn't matter how much money you put in. They may have even bought another company that did that, but weren't able to hold onto those people, just tried to patch it together, and it turns into just kind of this mismatch process that doesn't work great. So buying another company and putting together isn't a solution. You can't just simply organically grow that quickly, and there's a number of weaknesses to these systems when they do that for all of the reasons that I'm saying. So you'll typically see that when you have an ERP, and there's not many, there's like 3 on the market that are kind of well known. I'm not going to say who they are, but you could easily Google it. But there's not a lot of options for those types of systems because of the depth that's there. And all of them are very well known. I'm not saying anything disparaging. This is very common knowledge. There's going to be something they're really great at, and then there's going to be other things they're not. And none of them have really been able to overcome that. And I didn't want us to be in that boat where we were, hey, oh man, they were great permit software, but man, their finance just isn't that great. And then the other thing is there's high cost. So this is not inexpensive software by any means. If you're looking to do an RFP for a full-blown citywide ERP system, it's going to cost at a minimum hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. And it's a very expensive process, and it takes a long time. It is something that you're going to work on deploying for years for all the different parts, and a lot of times it's not successful. I can see many systems, cities and counties and parishes that have attempted to do an ERP, and they really kind of end up with some kind of a hybrid. There were some things they just couldn't make happen, never did, and they went off and did something else. So what it really turned is from the dream full ERP to kind of this hybrid. We really just got rid of some silos, and they wasted a whole bunch of money in the process. They could have done it a whole lot cheaper and easier. So you can't just piece these things together. So sometimes what cities will do, knowing this, maybe they've had a bad experience at another one, like we're not going to go buy one of the leading 3. Instead, and it's too expensive, our city doesn't have that kind of money to go on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go look for who is the best in the industry. Let's look for those best in-breed software providers, and then let's just contract with them individually. Let's get them to integrate, and then we'll basically kind of build our own ERP. We're going to save a ton of money, and we're still going to get all the benefits without all the cons. Well, when cities do that, they run into their own problems. One, a lot of times they'll pick solutions that they're going to tell the customer whatever they want to hear, but they're competitors. If maybe you wanted to keep the financial software from one of those ERP systems, well, they don't want to integrate with something else because they have their own products they're trying to sell. So when you try to get them to integrate, they're not going to do anything to really help the process along, right? If they can blame the other person, yeah, that's what happens when you go with them. You should have gotten ours. They are incentivized to create problems for you. So from a support standpoint, you're going to have a lot of trouble. They may just refuse. and they might know a problem, they're just going to sit in their thumbs because they don't want it to be successful because that's not their interest. So we've been able to come up with a solution that gives you a full ERP system with all of the benefits while also overcoming all of the traditional downsides. And the way that we've done that, and we're very excited about it, is through creating the strategic partnership program and also couple with that a partnership program. So what this is, and like I was talking about in the opening, what we've done is we've also sought out with a very strict definition of what criteria we're looking for, who we feel are the best in breed providers for software that does those things like the financial components and some of the things that we don't do. But at the same time, they don't compete with us. They don't have products. They're of the same mindset. Hey, we're really great at finance, but we don't want to try to be permitting because that's not what we're geared up for. So that was the criteria. And then at the same time, they would be willing, where their CTO wants to talk to me, that I have his cell number, he has my cell number, we can work together as partners and not just something else. That our other support level staff know each other, we've been cross-trained together. So we created a whole criteria for this, and then we were able to kind of vet the market for people that fit this criteria and develop a strategic partnership with. So what that does now is you can have the best in breed software providers. It is not you having to ask them to put it together and work things. We have already done that. So when you see a company that's listed as a strategic partner or a preferred partner, we've already done all of that. It's somebody we want to work with. We've done the cross-training. We've done the integrations. And if you sign up with subscriptions for us, it's just like adding another module on an ERP system. You'll contract with them directly, but we know each other very well. There's no questions, and it just turns on and it works. And then in addition to that is the support. So if you call one of the preferred providers and there's a problem, even if they think it's us, which it could be, they're not going to tell you turn around, call MGO. They're going to contact us directly, and they're going to field that support call coordinated with us. And same with us. You call us, and we think there's a problem with the financial, we're just going to talk to their support. We have high-level contacts. We can get it resolved and follow up. So it's like you're dealing with one company, one support organization, but without all the weaknesses, and still having the strengths of the core competencies of which we're done. So this is something relatively new that's come about. Even though I say it's relatively new, it's been years in the making, and it just kind of came about organically, where it just made a lot of sense. And so there's currently 2 strategic partners that we have. So there's a Clarion, if y'all don't mind standing to be recognized. So this is Caroline, and then Harrison in the back. So with the Clarion Financial Software. And I'd like, if Caroline, if you don't mind just coming up. Again, what I tend to do, I just do these things impromptu. I'll just keep talking while she comes up here. Sorry, I was just feeling it at the moment. But I like her just for quick 60 seconds to just talk a little bit about what they do, because I don't want to mess it up is the main thing, and the benefit that y'all provide.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan. So I'm Carolyn Gatch. I'm a Sales and Marketing Director at Clarion. We are a web-based, cloud-based core financial suite. We are built by accountants for accountants, and we work solely in the public sector.
That's good enough.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much. Give her a round of applause. So they're one. So we already have mutual customers, and that's kind of how it came about. I want to be careful what I say, but I don't want to get in trouble. But one it was really neat. We actually, like Madeira Beach was one that we already had as a customer. They were already putting us together, and that's really kind of how the strategic partners. I don't want to say I went on this big nationwide hunt, because I really didn't. What it really became is this thing of existing customers and multiple and repetitive saying, man, we'd love for y'all to work together. We got to talking, and then just all the criteria very naturally fit. And it happened really fast. But it's this accumulation of things that we learn. Another one, I think I'll be okay saying this, came about and didn't even know it. And it was the city of Destin, Florida. So Destin, Florida signed up with us. They had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this ERP system, which I had knew about because their building official 4 years ago wanted to go with us. The finance department had overrode them and made them go with what they wanted. Well, there's 4 years of misery later, their council and mayor said enough's enough, that's got to go. And they ended up going with us because of the value we bring, particularly with the customer portal. It was the funniest thing ever. They didn't even get a demo for our back end side. They said our customer portal is such a problem that if y'all will solve our deal, we're signing up and we'll deal with whatever on the back end. They did a big demo with like 30 of their, they had councilmen there, they had the mayor there, and they also had probably about 30 building contractors in the community. We did the demo. We hung up the phone. They had polled the room. They said it was unanimous. Within 10 minutes, they said, we're going with y'all. So we were really excited about that. The building official felt vindicated. I wanted to do this 4 years ago. It's those finance folks. And but I was really happy about that. So Destin signed up. They had me join on a virtual call. We knew it was going to, because it was driven by the council anyway. But I was on the call, just kind of watching. They did the council meeting. They voted. No public comments. It was just approved. And then I was just going to hang up, but then I heard there was another software company they were doing. So I just, whoa, what's this? Let me just hang on the call and see what it is. And then there's a Clarion. I'm like, oh, that's those people Madeira uses. And I found out they had also thrown out the financial software of the same company. And I was like, man, they're really cleaning house. And so it was really neat to see how our customers, even large cities like Destin, Florida, with lots of money to spend, after going the ERP route, without even talking to us, we didn't even have the concept of a strategic partnership yet, had individually selected us, feeling that this is the best and what they needed. And then, I don't want to say lucky for them, but very neat. We were already in the process of talking, of integrating, and it just further cemented that this is the right thing. It's organically coming together, that we're getting selected independently, and we've put together this whole thing. They've actually built custom features that make the integration really nice, and it's really, really neat. So another one is also RevCord. So RevCord you see in Uchenna, and you see in Bill and others with virtual inspections. Now, that's something we had actually started building. Right around COVID, everybody's trying to refigure out this new world. One of the things I started building was virtual inspection software, and I got most of it done. Actually, I had a little beta working and everything else. But I was very concerned about rolling it out because of the level of support that it would take. I'm like, it's just going to stretch my staff so thin. There's going to be continued updates we have to do. And this is something that Uchenna kind of stayed after me about. And then it ended up being, it just made a lot of sense that if we could integrate with that same level of support, they have a whole company that's geared up for just virtual inspections. That's all they do. It's like having a complete support staff dedicated to one feature. Like, how nice would that be if, like, for my plan review comments module, I had a whole team of people. If my DMS feature, I had a whole team of people. Our software would be incredibly expensive, by the way. So we can't, it's not feasible. Nobody has that. But by these add-on things through strategic partnerships, you can pay and get your own subscription. You get a feature just like it's the same company, and the quality and the support is outstanding. So this is where we're at with the strategic partnerships. This is why it's come about. So if you're a jurisdiction that you're going, we really would like to have an ERP, or maybe we do have one, but it's kind of in name only. It never really achieved all the things. And you want to look at saving money, because that's what this will also do. You'll get better quality and you'll save money. So if that's a conversation you'd like to explore, certainly, if you're interested in virtual inspections, we're going to be talking about that in a lot tomorrow, but feel free to talk with Carolyn, Uchenna, about the things they offer. I would certainly encourage, I know most of you aren't finance folks, but let them know about this as an option. If you have a city manager that's talking about a desire for ERP, one of our customers, Liberty Hill, they were talking about enhanced things with inspections. I told them about this. They did the demo with them, and they're going with it. And they're putting as much stuff as they possibly can to have they were going to do an ERP and then reverse course, and they're going with this, and they're super excited about it. So I would encourage you, just let your finance folks know, just get a demo. It doesn't cost anything, doesn't take a whole lot of time. Just get a demo and explore if this is something that your city wants to entertain. And if they have any mention of an ERP, absolutely they should do it, because there's nobody else out there doing something like this. When you see companies that say they're integrated, they have not integrated to the level of support and training that we're talking about. It's just merely they have some APIs and good luck, we hope they work. This is something truly different, above and beyond, and it provides a lot more value. Now, our preferred partner program is something that's similar, but it's not to the same level. So a preferred partner, we have an integration, we have certainly a level with the support, but there just may not be a strategic partner, but there's certainly a lot more than just simply an integration. And we have others that, and it just may not make sense where it wouldn't be a traditional ERP module. So for example, frontline advisory with Craig. Craig, if you want to come up here, this is going to be your notice to figure out what you want to say while I'm talking. But again, it came about very organically. Frontline advisory outside of us was hired by Travis County. Travis County had been on our software for over 10 years, never updated nothing. I called them all the time. I got Anna's cell phone and said, look, Anna, we got this latest feature. We just don't have time. So they just stuck with it and fell behind, and they're on this super old version of our software. So I think the council had enough of that. So they put out some money, hired a consulting company, and that's where Craig came in. He personally did the work, and they came in, we showed them what the software could do, and he worked with Frontline as an additional service to modernize everything that was there. And it was fantastic because we could have never done it. The amount of time that it would have taken, we just could not, we don't have enough personnel to do that. But they did, and then it just kind of organically came, well, like, shoot, they're there. He was right there in Austin. Let's train Craig on the software. So we did a lot of specialized training with Craig. We gave him the admin tool, and he kind of became like an MGO on-site support for Travis County. Craig then in turn cross-trained other people at Travis County and in his own organization. And it's like, man, this is a great preferred partnership. So then we have other jurisdictions when they're saying, look, we really want to do an audit to try to improve our overall permit services. We want to try to modernize. We're like, well, look, we have a preferred partner with Frontline. You could hire any consulting company, but they have an outstanding track record with somebody as huge, the millions of population that Travis County is. They've already received specialized training, so we wanted people to know about that. So because we've done all these things and they meet that criteria, we're listing them as a preferred partner. So if that's something you want, you could talk to them. They know they have specialized training in it. They're not here selling software. It's really consulting services, but they've been recognized for that. So in Craig, he's going to be doing, so right after this, we're going to continue probably with the putting it all together and some of the planning classes. So we're going to also have some opportunities. Actually, I think we're doing some tomorrow. I'll get back to you in exactly when we're doing them. I think there's 2 of them, so I think we're doing one today, one tomorrow. But he's going to actually be doing some of the breakout sessions and talking. He's not here to sell you anything, but he's here to talk about just some of the things that he's learned, that he's done, about how you can go about improving permitting efficiencies and other things like that. So I'll just give him a minute to, one, just kind of introduce anything you feel that's relevant for people to know, and also talk about the 2 topics that you put together that people might be interested.
Thank you. So like you said, I'm a principal consultant with Frontline Advisory Group, and so we've been working with Travis County, and many of you may have seen me last year at the Texas conference, and we got to tell you about what our approach was last year. But really the results from that approach were pretty amazing. Through some of the automation that we discussed today, we saved about $140,000 a year just by automating some of those basic tasks. We cut our review time, or increased our reviews by about 30%, while cutting our rounds of comments down in half, which was amazing. And this year we've done another 13 projects around implementing an expediter process using MGO, updating our fees and things like that. And so today and tomorrow we'll be discussing, like you said, program audits. So kind of taking a step back out of your program and really seeing how well it's performing, engaging with your stakeholders, things like that, and seeing where there's rooms for improvement. And the other is kind of talking through the standardized approach that we have used for onboarding new programs or processes into MGO. This year we've onboarded over 10 processes because while they've been with Travis County for, I think, going on 13, 14 years now, we still have some of our teams that haven't been on the platform. And so we were able to bring those in. But when you start to talk about automation and applications, all the different portals and things like that, like there's so many moving parts that you really have to have a standardized approach to that. And so we're going to walk through what we've implemented and some tools that we've built with Travis County, just kind of share lessons learned.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Give them a round of a hand. What are you talking about, Ron? What does that have to do? Because it really, software implementations are a lot more than just software. It's really, you can buy software from anybody, but at the end of the day, people buy software from people they like. And it's not just because they like somebody, there's actually some real reasons of why that is. It's because when you like somebody, it's probably for a reason. One, you like their character. You like who they are as a person. So what does that mean? You can trust them. When they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. If they don't do what they say they're going to do, they're going to take ownership of it and they're going to make it right. So there's a character element there. And then another thing is communication. When you like somebody because you trust them, the communication flows better. And how important is communication to software implementations? This isn't the type of thing that you just click a few buttons and it's on and you use it. It's something that takes a lot of detailed conversations and plans to get the goals identified correct, configured, communicate problems. So that's why people at the end of the day buy software from people they like, because what they're really saying and doing by that is, I believe we can have a trusting relationship and we're going to be able to communicate well so that we'll have a successful project. So understanding that, one of the things when we're recruiting people, we're trying to recruit people of character, people that care, and people that have, everybody tells you what you want to hear in the interview. I almost feel like interviews are a waste of time. I could just pull out of a hat and do just as good. But what you can't fake is your backstory, what you've done, how you interact with family, what are your prior successes, what accomplishments, what do people think about you? And so we've really worked hard to not just hire people that tell me everything I want to hear in the interview, but people that have a success story of their life in other areas, and that tends to transmit into success with MGO. So just wanted to say that. So we also have other companies that we're talking with very actively about being preferred partners. It hasn't finalized yet, but we've done demos and have communications. And a lot of them are AI companies. So there's also some that do pre-checks, like Forerunner. I believe that's with Plan Review. There's Auto Review AI. There's other inspection companies. There's Archistar, Build Check AI. So these are AI companies or other companies that provide additional services. They have their own fees, but we're talking about how we can integrate. So if it's something you do sign up with them, it just kind of works out of the box, and there'll be more with these as this shapes up. It's a lot of new stuff. But at the end of the day, all of this is influenced by you. If you're sign up for an AI company and we hear it's just terrible, and that's just the consensus we get, we're going to help learn from that and steer to others. So the best of the best kind of rise to the top. Those settle down. As part of these conferences and these programs is to kind of be able to get that word out so you can make good decisions of what's best for you. Now, at this time, I was going to have Wayne Snell. He's the inspections director for the city of Irving, Texas. Wayne has actually deployed our software initially at the city of Odessa, and then he left there, and then he went to city of Irving, and then he deployed our services there. So what better compliment when somebody has 2 times went to cities and picked us both times and stuck with it. But Wayne and I talk all the time. He's been very actively researching, getting demos, and testing these different AI companies. So I was going to have him come and share what he's found, but last minute something came up and he couldn't be here. So I'm not going to I don't want to steal his thunder for it. We have the slides here. I'm just going to do real quick about it. But I know Wayne would absolutely love to talk with you. So if you're at a point that you're looking to sign up for some type of AI service to help with plan review, I would encourage you to reach out to Wayne Snell, City of Irving. He'll be more than happy to talk with you. But there's about 3 that he's actively fooling with. He will tell you that each of them has its own strengths and weaknesses, and they all do something different. Another thing that he says, and he's kind of learned it, again, I want to say what he says because he's not coming from a tech perspective. He's coming from a building inspector plan review perspective. And he did this presentation with us in Texas. But he said, look, one of the things I hear all the time is that people are afraid AI is going to take their job. He's like, it's not. What this is, it's another tool in the bag. You know, a hammer doesn't build the house. You know, you may even go from a hammer to a nail gun, but it's not, you still have a need for the builder. So these AI tools, at least at this time, we'll see what the future holds, they're not replacing anybody's job, but it's like upgrading your tool from a hammer to a nail gun, and it's allowing you to do so much more. So you really shouldn't fear this, and I feel the same way. This is AI, something, you know, Mike will tell you and others, this I talk about in our staff meetings. I'm researching. I use AI every day as part of my job. Our software developers, we use AI every day. It's amazing what you can do with it, but it's just letting you do more with less, and it's not at a point that you should fear it and stay away. If you fear it and stay away, you're going to get replaced by it. But if you embrace it, you learn how to use the tool, you're going to be more productive, and you're going to be very valuable. So I think that's the big AI takeaway. But certainly I can tell you Archie Star, they just did a contract. Now with AI, all this stuff is experimental. There is nobody that has been using it for years and has this big proven track record. It's too new. Nobody can say that. We're at the beginning of something. I like to explain it with AI. We're like the year 2000 with the internet, right? You know, the internet was around for 20 years, but it was the year 2000 that it really took off, became commercialized, and it changed our whole world. That's where we are with AI right now. It's been around for forever, but it's just now being commercialized, and we're beginning to see how it's changing our world. So Archie Star signed a big contract with the city of Austin. So they did some pilots with it. They were happy with it. I can also tell you it's very expensive. So they're looking to target cities like Austin and things like that, and we'll see what kind of results they have. Auto review build check, also do assistance. What all of these are trying to do, just if I could oversimplify, is they're helping the plan reviewer do less work. So they can be put on the customer side where they'll check plans and other things for just obvious problems and not let them be submitted and kind of say, hey, you got this isn't going to pass plan review, don't even submit it. Go fix these things up front. And then, so when the plan reviewer does get it, it can be hopefully in just an approved process, and there's a lot less for the plan reviewer to check. It's also being looked at for the plan reviewer to do it as kind of like a quasi, not to replace the review, but to help point out obvious things so there's less brain power they got to do in scrutinizing for it. So that's what these tools do. As we learn more about them, as more of you give me feedback, this is something I want to talk about every conference, and it's just really to update what we have found, what we've learned. So if you're interested, it can save you a lot of time. Because I'm telling you, all these demos, all these conversations, all these things we're learning are a lot of hours. So this really fast tracks it.